back to senior night. Today I'm joined by Jake Brown, a senior. Jake, school was closed today, or for people seeing it, it'll be yesterday. What's your reaction to
that? Kind of shell-shocked at first because I was kind of doing yard work when I heard about all that. And at first I didn't believe it. I'm like, no, we're coming back May 1st. And then looked it up and I'm like, yeah, we're definitely not coming back. So
when school originally got closed for a little bit, were you disappointed a little bit or no?
At first, no. Like the first week, I was like, bro, this is so nice. I get to play video games. I get to relax. My basketball season just ended, so I was just kind of like, I'm just going to be big chilling for a week. And then the week after that, I started lifting a little bit. And then the week after that, the gyms closed, everything closed. And then, from that week to now, I've just been kind of bored out of my mind. Just kind of like, I need to go do something. I kind of miss school now, which is not regular. So
yeah, I remember seeing your Schlog vlog that you turned in, and you were out with your dad going to Walmart.
Yeah, that was literally the second week of quarantine, and it was still fun, but now it's kind of just like, this sucks.
Yeah, I know. We're not gonna have anything to vlog besides just the walls.
Yeah, I know.
I saw where you committed to Oliver Nazarene University.
Yeah.
You want to take us through that process of committing?
So they first reached out to me probably last year, probably around this time, if not like June or July. And they're like, we really like you. If you want to come on a visit, just come on a visit whenever you're ready. And so we made a visit and went over there. I liked the players, I liked the coach. And then as more colleges started coming in, as the season was about to start and as the season went on, they've always been at the top of my list. And so just recently, like last week, I was like, you know what, I'm tired of just like asking, hey, I know all this is going on, quarantine and stuff. I just kind of told them, like, I'm just kind of ready to commit because I don't feel like I'll be able to commit if I'm in school because we don't have school. So they're just like, oh, that's great. So I told them I'd commit, told social media, told my coach, told my family and loved ones. So pretty fun experience.
What stood out to you about that college?
So I don't know if you know this, it's a Christian college, and I do kind of want to, be a better Christian on that part. But the purple and gold, I've always wore red and white my whole life. And I just thought, like, purple and gold, that kind of changes it up a little bit. In general, just, not being a Spartan feels totally different. But I really like, the location. It's over in Illinois. It's only about an hour and a half from Chicago. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so I plan on sometime in my life up there, hopefully getting tickets and go watching some football over there. But good location to start fresh, start on my own, grow up a little bit. And, just overall, I thought it was a great college. So,
you mentioned it feels weird not being a Spartan anymore. So you look at your last game you had in second round of sectionals. What emotions do you remember you had after the end of the game?
Well, I know it probably doesn't sound, normal, but like my first emotion was probably just like relief. I was just kind of like, I gave everything I did everything in my power that I could do. And, if they came out on top as a better team, then they came out on top as the better team. And I was actually, a week after that, I was kind of looking forward to seeing how far they would go, because I knew that, whatever they went is however far we would have went. But with sports getting canceled and everything like that, that's kind of disappointing. But definitely a lot of emotions and relief, definitely sadness. I was definitely very highly upset. I was very, very, very upset. But other than that, it is what it is.
You said you're a sports fan, obviously. I mean, play basketball. What do you remember your reaction being whenever all the sports got delayed, like professional sports wise?
Well, at first I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, maybe just, take away a couple of games. And I was like, okay, Rudy Gobert, he's defensive player of the year, that kind of joke. But as more and more started having it, I was just kind of like, oh man, I'm like, this is not going to be too pretty, I don't think. And then when they canceled almost every single sporting thing, recently they postponed the, Japan Olympics. I was just, right now I'm still kind of shocked. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm used to like getting on my TV, getting on my YouTube, looking up highlights and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, when there's no games going on, it's back to like 1970 highlights. I've been watching every single highlight because I'm so bored out of my mind without sports. So I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah.
I've seen where like ESPN's doing a 2K tournament at like 7 p.m. tomorrow and broadcasting that
Yeah.
live nationally. Like it's getting hard out here without sports. But,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Spring sports were recently canceled. Did you play any spring sports in the past?
Yes, I did do track. I did do track my freshman, sophomore year. I didn't do it my junior year because during my AAU basketball, that's when all that was happening. I just kind of wanted to focus on basketball. I thought about doing track this year, but I mean, it was kind of like up in the air, kind of indecisive. But then once they said that, no one's going to have track, to me, I was like, oh, well, then there's my decision for me. But I still feel bad for like all my friends and stuff who are in track. And, they're just kind of like, I'm not going to have my senior track season. And for kids that's their only sport and they love that sport, I honestly feel really bad for them. And I'm just kind of like, I'm sorry, guys. You know what I mean? Just feels bad.
What have you talked about amongst seniors with everything going on recently?
Well, like I said, I was doing yard work, and when I heard about it, my first thing was my girlfriend told me, and I didn't believe her. She's like, nah, I don't believe that. But then when, the 5 seniors from basketball told me, I was like, oh, I want to look this up. And so I did look it up, and I already set up a group chat with senior council. I'm the vice president, and I talked to all the other officers. And I'm like, we're probably going to have a prom no matter what. Because I can't imagine, okay, if I can stay home and do homework all I want, but I have to have a prom. Yeah. I would really like to have the end of the year water balloon fight somewhere. I don't know where yet, but I'd like to get everyone in the school to come out somewhere and just have a huge water balloon fight. So I'm discussing that with my senior friends right now about having a water balloon fight somewhere or having a prom somewhere. But I kind of want to get this all kind of situated before something like police enforcement gets involved. Like they're saying, you can't go outside whatsoever. You can't meet 5 people or more whatsoever. So I want to try to get this all kind of going. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to hope for prom and the major water balloon fight that we have every year. So
yeah, I was gonna say you could have a 6 feet apart prom dance. But,
yeah.
You were talking about the water balloon fight from past years. I mean, you've gone all throughout high school. I'm sure they've been doing that ever since you're a freshman as well. It's a tradition now. But what is one of your best memories from past water balloon fights?
Well, my freshman year, it was probably like, I don't know. I just kind of like, I didn't know about the tradition at all. And so the day of, when all these seniors were like just like leaving class early, I was kind of like looking out the window and I'm like, hey, what's going on out there? And like, oh, you're about to get, hosed down with water. And I'm like, huh? And they told me at my 7th period, my freshman year, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm scared out of my mind. I'm like, no, Grant Smith is going to like pummel me, whatever. And I walk out there and it's just, all the seniors just, tailgates down, trucks everywhere, throwing water balloons. And then I saw Ethan and Clay, and they're just kind of like, hey, let's go throw water balloons at them, to catch them and throw them at them back. So we did that probably my freshman, sophomore, junior year, and we were kind of excited to be the ones on the other end where we pull up our trucks or pull up our water balloons, and we just, launch back. But, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I'm trying to make everything in my power to make it happen. So.
Yeah. You mentioned Grant Smith and them. You guys were playing back and forth with them with the water balloons. Who would you say that was a past upperclassman that was kind of your role model in high school?
I mean, I had a lot of them. I know probably Garrett Sokot was probably my top one because I didn't get to play with Grant and all of them as they were going on their, history-making season. I was on the freshman squad. And when I hit my sophomore year and I became varsity player, I was with Wes Smith, who taught me a lot about the post game, taught me how to be patient, And then with Garrett Silcott especially, who taught me how to just like dribble the ball a lot better than what I've ever had done before, how to extend on layups and how just to like finish around the rim. So, I mean, both of them, they were both very, very, very nice to me, especially Garrett. He's always just been, overly nice, I would say. Like, he can't single like insult that he could throw at you that you couldn't laugh at just because he's just so, just know he's so, pure-hearted. But I would definitely say those two taught me a lot about the game. So.
Yeah. So that they've inspired you a lot in your game. Who would you say that you feel like you may have inspired from this season and last season with your game?
Well, I know. I mean, at least I think he's telling the truth. Cole Martin, he did tell me, like, I was expecting him to say something, at the end of the night or whatever, but he didn't say anything. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's fine. He's a post player, you know what I mean? Like, and he reached out to me a week later, and he was just kind of like, hey Jake, I'm sorry that the season ended like it did. I'm sorry if I didn't do something right in the Greensburg game. I'm like, bro, a lot of things went wrong in the Greensburg game. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, you were great. You were a great role model to me. You taught me a lot about the game. He goes, a lot of it that honestly the coaches never really sat down and talked to me about the game. And he goes, I hope to, progress as his senior year goes on. So I'm like, yeah, man. So if you need anything at all, I'll be 3.5 hours away. But, if you want to, Zoom call me or anything, I can show you, what to do or how to do it. I said, cool, I'll be 100% down for it. So he's like, I might have to, but yeah.
So you look back at all your years in schooling. So this is kind of like in school wise question, but you look back, I'm sure you've had plenty of memories in classes. What would you say is your best?
In class?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, there's a lot of like obviously, like, if I said it, like it'd just be like, oh, that teacher lets you do that. You know what I mean? Like, just I would say one of my favorite memories was probably my freshman year with Paula Schaus. She's the English teacher. You probably had her, right? Yeah.
I didn't,
We had
but
to.
I know people have. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had to do like a book fair, right? And we had to present a book and had to mark it, like selling it. And I remember bringing in a fishing pole into school. And here's me, I'm a freshman. I'm bringing in like my fishing hat, my fishing pole, a pack of Swedish fish. And, you got Sheriff West coming around the corner like, does that pole have a hook on it? Does that pole have any kind of, I'm just like, no, it's just fake line. It's just line, no hook, no nothing that can kill someone. He's just like, okay, you're fine. And I walk into her classroom and she's like, what are you trying to do? And I'm like, oh, you see. And so as my class started up, poked a hole through the Swedish fish, tied a line to the fish. And as I'm giving people Swedish fish, because my book was Huckleberry Finn, I was casting a fishing pole line throughout the entire class, hitting people's boards, hitting whatever. And she thought that was the best thing in the entire world. She loved it. So that's probably my best memory from high school. Just, yeah.
So we talked about best. You look back, there has to be at least one embarrassing moment. What would you say is yours?
Embarrassing? Oh man. Well, I do know it wasn't my most embarrassing, but one moment was I accidentally had a mic when Glow was still around. It was my sophomore year. I accidentally had a mic on me and I went to the bathroom, and yeah, nothing bad, but just that was kind of embarrassing. But I forget. I want to say, actually, I have no idea. There's a lot of embarrassing moments I had. Bro, I mean, I want to probably say like when I don't know if you know Miss Floyd. She my sophomore year. Sophomore year was my best year by far. It was very embarrassing. But me and Katie Keegan were real tight, and she's always calling me names. I'm always calling her names back as a jokingly. You know what I mean? Just kind of like, oh, you call me dumb, I call you dumb, whatever. And we're laughing it up and whatever. Well, Miss Floyd went to go shut the door, and as she was going to shut the door, I called her, not a very good name. And she turned around at me, and she started laying the wood into me. She's yelling at me, telling me I need to respect women, either whatever this. And as I'm like scared out of my mind, Katie's over in the background just cracking up laughing at me. She's over here pointing at me, calling me names, and Miss Floyd's already yelling at me. And then she turns around and sees Katie, and Katie's over here doing this. And she's like, wait a minute. I'm like, Miss Floyd, we do this all the time. It's fine. But she's still, even to this day, she's still like, you respecting women, Jake? I'm like, yes, I am. I'm like, me and Katie, we're just so close. We're so tight. Like, but it's still just an embarrassing moment getting, grilled in front of the whole classroom. I thought it was terrible. But now I look back on it, it's funny. So.
Yeah, you talk about Katie and you having a close relationship. I saw on your Twitter through your commitment post, she was one of the first people to leave a comment. How would you describe your guys' relationship?
Oh, I mean, she became, so she became varsity manager, or at least JV varsity manager, her freshman year. And she was the only manager that would still show up to my freshman games and stuff. So me, her, Tanner, all the guys on the freshman squad, we got to know Katie very, very well. And she was already past, she was like managers from our past teams, from like 8th grade, 7th grade football, basketball, stuff like that. And so, I mean, my sophomore year when I was like kind of scared about being on the varsity floor, and the only people that were playing varsity at the time in my grade level were me, Clay, sometimes Ethan. I was just kind of like very, very nervous and whatever. And it was just kind of nice just to see her over there. And she, like, if I did something wrong, Coach Brown was yelling at me, I just kind of like look over at her. And she's just kind of like, you got this. You're fine. You're only 13, 14, you're sophomore. You're fine. Come on, you got this. Whatever. Or 15, 16. You're sophomore. You got this. And I'm just like, oh. So, I mean, it was a real good bond having her as a manager and having someone to talk to. So.
Yeah, you talked about Coach Brown's practices, yelling at you whenever you make a mistake. How would you describe his practices?
Okay, so during the time as I'm in practice, I'm like, this is terrible. I mean, I thought at the time he hates me. He doesn't he doesn't like anything I do. Everything I do is wrong. Nothing I do is right. Like, he'll ask us a question. And he'll be like, if there's a guy posted up in the baseline and the ball's over in the opposite baseline, where should you be? And we're like, underneath the basket. He's like, no, underneath the basket, closer to the baseline, or something. Just something real nitpicky. And I'm just kind of like, man, he hates me. But as I'm like, looking back on it, I'm like, no, he just was really just trying to make us perfect. You know what I mean? Just kind of trying to perfect us, make the game, easier on ourselves. And I mean, I will say it's not easy practices. There's always at least probably 2-3 miles of running per practice. Like, I know people are like, oh, well, tracks, you got to do a lot of running and cardio. And I'm just like, I tell you what, I did, I mean, I did both basketball and track my sophomore year. And I felt like I was in more shape with basketball, just the constant running, long distance, miles, mile Mondays. We always ran a mile on Monday, no matter what game was on Tuesday, what it was, mile Monday. And then every single night after practice, we always had like suicides. We always had, run up and down the stairs. Like, it was just, I mean, hard, but definitely a life lesson in it. So that's good.
I think I remember hearing that you guys had to run a mile after, if you guys missed a practice, you had to run a mile. Is that true?
Yeah. So if we missed practice or any kind of, whatever during the summer, it didn't really matter. It was kind of like, okay, you owe me like a couple laps around the top during the summertime, right? And sometimes as summertime went on, it was, okay, you should know what time to be here. If you miss, then you run a mile, no matter how late you are. Well, now it's gotten to the point to where if you miss a practice, you run 2 miles, and every practice that you miss after, I think, 3 in a row, so say you're sick, then those all get reducted down to 1 a day. So, like, if I miss 3 days in a row, I'd have to run 6 miles sometime throughout the season, like 6 extra miles that if we ran a mile, I might have to run 2 miles after that after practice. We had a kid, Dustin McCarroll. He missed probably 8 practices in a row because he came down with the flu. And so coach is like, I'm not about to make that kid run 16 miles. So he's like, anything after 3, it turns down to 1. So he still had to run, 6, 8 miles. So, I mean, yeah, he's very, we sometimes call him, the eagle, the drill sergeant, the, captain, lieutenant, whatever it is, just because we knew that if we weren't on time and we're not on the court dressed and ready 10 minutes before practice, if we aren't punctual, if we aren't clean shaven, if we aren't, any of that, he will make you run because he takes that to heart. He's just kind of like, I taught you how to be a good gentleman. If you're not going to respect me, I'm not going to respect you. So yeah, definitely a life lesson there.
So we talked about embarrassing moments. and your best memories. So you go back. What's one thing you think you would change that you did in high school?
Mm, I mean, I kind of think back. I'm just kind of like, if I would have just went harder my freshman year, if I would have just went harder my sophomore year in basketball, if I kind of just did not really my own thing, but if I kind of like tried to be more than just big guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Through the athletic, view, I feel like I could be going, somewhere different with college. I felt like I could be getting more money. I could felt like I could be doing all this, but I mean, it kind of comes down to like, I wouldn't really change that. You know what I mean? Because like I wish I would have done better or worked harder, but I'm also like I didn't want to be one of those guys who just did one sport for 4 years of my life.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I love doing. I know the football team is not the best my freshman year, but I love getting hit day after day and whatever. I just loved meeting the guys on the team. I love meeting the guys on the tennis team, meeting the guys on the track team, all that. Um, some people, coach sometimes told me is just kind of like, well, do you kind of regret not doing basketball and only basketball? Like, do you think you become even a better player than what you are if you would have just done basketball? I'm like, I probably would have become a better player, but I wouldn't have made near as many friends as what I did doing all those other sports. So, I mean, I'm actually kind of glad to say that like, I'm kind of leaving high school with kind of like no regrets, really. Just kind of like
yeah,
big chilling, I mean, just kind of like happy for what I did, you know, and, if I did something wrong that was terribly wrong, then I mean, I guess I would know. But honestly, I felt like I didn't leave any regrets. I'm kind of happy the way high school turned out
yeah.
for me.
I mean, you've always seemed like a pretty sociable guy to me. What? I mean, you're sociable, like how I said, but what would you? Were you always like that, or was that more of until you got to high school type thing?
Um, I mean, I would say so. Like elementary, I wasn't really all that social. I was a book geek. Like video games and books, I was definitely on that grind. Um, but once I kind of hit seventh grade, and I kind of like took basketball a little bit more seriously because it said CMS on the jersey and not some raggedy old Spartan jersey I wore my sixth grade years. It said CMS. I'm like, whoa, this is my jersey. I'm on a real team. I'm on a high school or middle school level team. I started just kind of like reaching out that way. And like I said, I've always been friends with like Clay, Ethan, Garrett, Tanner, all them guys, Trevor, Colton, Damon. But like I started reaching out towards kids like Latarian, who I mean like Clay and Ethan, all them, they know Latarian, but they don't really like know Latarian. You know what I mean? Like they don't really
Yeah,
sit down and know him as he wants to become this when he grows up. He wants to do this with his life. And when I did track my seventh and eighth grade year, I just kind of became the social bug of just like talking to people and always talking to people. And I didn't really. I mean, I would say, I did talk to the girls here and there, but I love just talking to anybody who would listen, and I'd listen to anyone who would talk back to me. So definitely did enjoy that. And that built, I mean, probably just talking to everyone. I mean, I've talked to kids who are in jail right now, to kids who are, living their best life, somewhere else around the state. And I mean, just making those bonds middle school, I've kind of just kind of like been, mutual friends with everyone in my grade, at least that I know of. I can just sit down and talk to anyone that I know in my grade.
yeah,
And I'm very, very happy about that because I don't want to be one of those, oh, he's a jock, he's whatever, he's not going to talk to me. Like, no, if you want to talk, I'll talk to you. Like,
yeah.
so.
Um, so there's plenty of people who look up to you. There's not a day that doesn't go by that you hear like your name being yelled in the Spartan Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, so what advice do you have for people coming into high school and for all those who look up to you?
Ooh, my best advice, and I know it's kind of like cliche, you hear coaches say it all the time, but like, is just really just trust the process, but I would say try to make the process your own. You know what I mean? Because there, I realized quick in high school that like when coach says to do something or your teacher says to do something, everyone does it the cookie cutter way. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, copy, paste, send, copy, paste, send, spin, move, right hand layup, spin, send it, all that stuff. Um, it's okay to trust the process, but sometimes it's okay to take option B, which is like, all right, let's add a loop and then still end up where you are. Confused, make the teacher like, oh, he actually put in effort, or, oh, he wrote an extra paragraph, or make the coach like, whoa, he learned that on his own, or I don't know what he's doing, but if he gets that move down, then he's going to be good. So, I mean, definitely just trust the process, but do it in your own way too. Like definitely listen to the teacher. I'm not saying,
Yeah.
oh, Jake told me to ever listen to you. No, no. Listen to him, but I would say take it with a grain of salt and like
Build off
turn it
of.
into something, yeah. Like just turn it into something better. You know what I mean? Like I would say like do 80-90% of what they want you to do and add your own 10 or 20 to it. Because I mean, personality and characters is who you are, and you don't want to become someone who's like, I only do what he tells me to do.
Yeah, I mean,
That's yeah.
you hear English teachers that are like, I can hear your voice whenever I read that paragraph. Like, so like kind of what you're saying kind of builds off of that because they're all putting their own spin on it. So that's good that you bring
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
But prom, it's up in the air what's happening. It's
Yeah.
good that it might still be on, but it's up in the air in my opinion. I
Yeah.
feel like with everything going
Yeah.
on. So what's your thoughts on everything with prom?
Well, I'll tell you, we as a senior council, we thought everything was, everything was kind of like uphill, trek. But once it got to a plateau, we started feeling like the downhill. Oh, we got so much money. Like we had more money than the seniors
Yeah.
last year. We're going to get electronic bull for after party. We're going to be spending on that thing. We're going to have great decorations. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have a nice 9-foot fountain. We're going to we had everything planned out, and we were just kind of coasting down. And then once we heard that, we weren't allowed to have it in the field house, we were just kind of like, okay, it's getting a little rocky. It ain't too bad. It's getting a little rocky. And then they said all this started happening, and then they closed school. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy. If we're coming back April 13th, 14th, that's a whole month away from May 7th. We're fine. And then when they said not till May 1st, it started getting a little hard going uphill. I was like, I'm not digging that too much. And then now, like you said, it's just kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
I know they said Judd's going to try to see what he can do and think about it. But honestly, I mean, my mom's told me, my girlfriend's told me, who's in a different county, but like all my friends have even told me, no matter what they say, yes or no, it's going to be yes. Like there's going to have to be a prom because you can't have a senior year without
No.
dressing up and seeing at least seeing everyone one last time. You know what I mean? Like I know people are posting on their stories like, whoa, last time we were in school, we all didn't even know it. You know what I mean? I'm like, that is true. Like I'm over here walking down the hallways, like, see y'all in a month. And I would like to at least see my friends and all my senior class and their dates one last time in prom. And then hopefully with the balloon fight, you see everyone one last time. So that's, kind of disappointing, but we'll see.
Yeah, you guys have had a little bit of a weird year with prom and everything. I mean, prom, it was in the field house, like how you mentioned, then it wasn't, and then it like was again, I'm pretty sure. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's been like you guys have had a weird year between Fieldhouse Expectations and everything else. But I mean, especially with everything going on recently, I mean, it's just kind of hit it harder.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you're sad about it. I'm sure everyone else is. What opinions has some other people had about more of the year ending itself?
Well, I know. So I'm in a bunch of group chats. I have a comp group chat, so we talk about English. I have a physics group chat, and I have my senior council group chat, and all of them blew up all about the same time. You know what I mean? So like when I first learned about the news, I said I didn't think it was real because none of my other chats were blowing up. I'm like, if it was real, everyone else would be kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
And then I'm not even kidding, give it like a minute, 3 minutes. That's when everyone started posting and everything. And they all just seemed like they were like they were more mad than upset and sad because they're just kind of like, no, we are not about to end the year without a prom. They're like, I will do everything in my power to go. They're you have girls who are like, I'll get up in a white dress and I'll still go out to some person's barn. I don't care. We're having a prom. So I mean, I feel like everyone else's attitude is about the same. Really just kind of like we have to have a prom. If we don't, we're all going to be very, very upset. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean that's the best I can probably say is especially the girls. Like I know the guys were just kind of like, we dress up, we're there. we're there to make them happy and also just to dance and have fun. But I mean, the girls definitely love dressing up, heels, necklace, whatever, all that stuff. And if they don't have it, I wouldn't say they would be sad. I feel like Judd would have to deal with an angry mom
Yeah,
on his
and a lot of
hands.
those
So,
dresses are expensive too, so it's like that's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, that last day, felt like such a weird day for me. I don't know if it felt the same for you. Before it was even known that it was going to be canceled, it just kind of felt like an off day.
Yeah.
But what teachers and peers would you want to say bye to one last time that you may not get to see before you go off to college?
I mean, honestly, all of them. I mean, there's not one teacher who has not influenced my education, who has not influenced the way I think now, the way I perceive myself, the way I treat others and treat myself. Like, I mean, I've been in engineering classes my freshman, sophomore year, and I can still remember almost every other class with David Hobson and and Dave Short, who's not even at the high school anymore. Short isn't, but like all the engineering teachers, I love them. Todd, oh my Lord, the Todd father, happy birthday to him. I mean, yeah, Paula Schaus, I mean, she's been, my GOAT since day one. She's always been my favorite English teacher. I mean, and Mr. D especially, I mean, chemistry, Mr. Green and Mr. D, like if you ask them anything, I mean, even if it's not school related, there you go. Even if it's not school related, I mean, they will answer 100% to their knowledge. And with both, Mr. Green and Dalrymple, their heads combined, it's about as good as you're going to get. And I mean, probably say goodbye to, Coach Brown, even though we still haven't had our Winter Sports Awards banquet yet. I'll see him again. But I mean, just everyone in general. And then, every single teacher, Spanish, man, I mean, all of them, really. I mean, all of them, they've impacted me so much. And I mean, I love them all. I hope they love me the way I love them, because I know I wouldn't be, getting good grades. I know I wouldn't be, the way I am without them. So.
Yeah. That's interesting how you brought up the winter sports. I haven't even thought about that yet. Completely forgot.
Yeah.
Postponed. But what does that bring any emotion to you with the winter sports?
I mean, I'm still just like, that's the whole thing is like with all this going on, it's not like I don't have any emotion. It's just kind of like, when we have time, that's when we'll be able to do it. Like basketball, we have the Winter Sports Awards with everyone, and then we still have our own personal awards. Like we go to, I think it is Grace Church over out in the country, and we eat and we eat out. We have a good laugh, we reminisce about, the old days, all that kind of stuff as players and as parents. But when Coach Brown canceled that, I was just kind of like, whoa, I mean, I won't be able to sit down at a desk with all of my guys on my left, on my right, whatever, with a basketball in front of us and be like, hey, we're your senior class, all that stuff. So, I mean, hopefully we'll still be able to do it, even if it's in the summertime. I still have high hopes for that. I'm sure Coach Brown will make something happen, but it's still just kind of like you said, it just kind of doesn't feel like it's real.
Yeah.
I felt like I've already had it. And because it's been so far away, like, winter sports, it's spring now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I felt like I've already had the Winter Sports Awards, and I still haven't. And that just kind of feels very, very, yeah, just kind of, yeah. So,
that's about all we have. Thank you so much, Jake, for doing this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thank you for asking me.
I wish you the best of luck in your future college career. I wish you the best of luck in your future life. You're truly a great person, very sociable. I want to thank you for impacting so many people on the court and off the court. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
If you're a senior and you'd like to be interviewed on your story, message us on Instagram at CH there, message me on Instagram, one of the two. I'd like to be able to cover you guys' story like I did Jake's, Anna, Kirsten's, LT, and Jay's. I want to bring some light to you guys. So if you want to be covered, just message us. Thank you again, Jake. A great interview.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man.
That's all we have.